Coffee Time. All right, I just wanted to take a few minutes here and uh, deal with Coffee Time, the next law of the harvest that is in this series we're doing on the 7 laws of the harvest. So I thought we'd take a few minutes here and take a look at that today. And we'll start here by covering our text real quick. Our text is this. It's Galatians 6, verses 7 through 9. It says, "Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. For he that soweth to the flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. But he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not." So I just want to review real quick before we get into what's new for the day. So I'll just try to be real quick in the area of review as we look at these laws of the harvest. So the first thing I want to do is just go through where we've been. And so we'll start with that first law that we covered first, which is you reap only what has been sown. You reap only what has been sown. So everything you experience in life, good or bad, pretty or ugly, whatever it is, it's a result of what someone has sown somewhere. So it might be God that sowed it. It might be something that we are harvesting and reaping into our life because God made this planet. He gave us a family. He did things for us, and we are reaping a harvest that He sowed into our lives. It might be something that someone else has sown and we've benefited from. On the negative side, it might be something that is negative that has been sown in or around our lives, and we're reaping a harvest from that that wasn't even our fault. And sometimes it's stuff that we have sown and we are reaping, good or bad. It's a result of our actions, our decisions, and we are reaping that. But regardless, if we're experiencing it, it is something that has been sown. The second law of the harvest is you reap the same in kind as you sow. You reap the same in kind as you sow. In other words, if I put corn in, I'm going to get corn out, right? If I put a kernel of corn in the ground, I can expect a stalk of corn to come up and ears to grow on that and corn to be produced. Now, if I put corn in the ground, I don't have any right to expect to get carrots. Because I did not put carrots in, I put corn in. If I put garbage into my life, I don't have any right to expect the good things. Because I put the junk in, I'm going to get the junk out. If I put good things into my life, I can expect to receive the good things back out of my life. Because I reap the same in kind as I sow. Number 3 is you reap in a different season than you sow. You reap in a different season than you sow. So don't expect it to happen overnight. We live in an instant society. I can go through a drive-through and I can make an order, and if I have to wait, McDonald's standard for years has been 90 seconds from the time you place the order till the time you pick it up. I don't think they make that very often, but that's their goal. 90 seconds is not the normal time for a harvest. You just know you put stuff in, and it might take a while, but stuff's going to come out in due season. If I put corn in the spring, I don't expect to go out there in an hour and a half and be able to harvest the corn. I expect that I'm going to have to wait a few months, right? Some things harvest quickly, some things harvest longer, but it will happen in due season. The same thing is true for some of the bad things we put into our lives, because we put bad things in and we don't see bad things happen right away. So we think, I got away with it. This is all right. No negative harvest. And then over time, the harvest comes in. So don't forget this principle that you reap in a different season than you sow. Number 4, we reap more than we sow. So in other words, I put a kernel of corn in the ground. I don't expect to just get one kernel of corn back. What would be the point of that for me, right? Because I might as well have just kept the kernel of corn that I had. No, I expect to get ears of corn out of my one kernel, because that's the principle of sowing and reaping. That's the purpose of sowing and reaping. I'm going to get more back than what I put in. That's the point, right? So you reap more than you sow, which brings us to today, the law today that we're going to look at. And before I actually get to the law, I think I'm going to take us to a passage of scripture first. And we'll do that. I guess I don't need to. Well, we'll do it this way, I suppose. So the passage today for this particular law is 2 Corinthians 9:6. 2 Corinthians 9:6, it says, "But this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully." So the more we sow, the more we're going to get back, right? The more we sow in, the more we're going to get back. So that's sort of how this principle is going to work. If you don't put in, if you only put a little in, you can't expect a huge harvest. If you put a lot in, though, you can expect a bountiful harvest, right? So the principle today is that we reap in proportion to what we sow. You reap in proportion to what you sow. So the principle here is keep sowing, right? Keep putting it in so that you can get more out at a larger rate, right? Invest it. Put stuff into your life that is good, that is positive, and you're going to see a return on that that's greater than what you put in. But the more you put in, the more of that greater you're going to get back. So you want to keep putting it in. Keep putting it into your life. Keep sowing good things in, and don't put too much junk in there. Don't put too much negative in there. Keep the sin and the garbage out. Don't sow that stuff into your life, because you're going to get more back from that than you put in. And if you put a lot of that junk in, you're going to receive a lot of consequence from it, right? It never pays off to sin, and you're going to get more negative back than what you put in every time, because that principle of harvest works just the same for the sin that we put into our lives as it does those good things that we put into our lives. If we're going to spend time every day, learn about God, try to live for God, and just enact godly principles into our heart and our life, be honest, loving people, all of those things that are good Christian principles, and we instill that into our lives, we're going to get it back at a greater rate than we put it in. And if we put a lot in, we're going to get a lot more back, right? It just makes sense to put the good stuff in and keep the bad stuff out, because I'm going to get in proportion to what I put in, right? It's a great principle that we need to enact in our lives. And absolutely, we reap in proportion to what we sow. If you like these kind of videos, please give me a thumbs up on YouTube here, on Facebook. Share it on Facebook, share it on YouTube, subscribe. If you're getting this on Parler, upvote me, echo, all that stuff. And thank you for your time today, and you guys all have a great day.